Hello and welcome to the MA's review of the week. I'm the morning advertiser at Bedington, and with me today I have the fantastic Emma Gibbon of the Plough and Achilles. Hi Emma, how are we?
Good morning. We're all good. Nice day in sunny Cheltenham.
Good stuff. So, how's trade at the moment for you guys?
Yeah, look, we're surprisingly busy. The weather has obviously helped us with that, but really since January we have sort of maintained a really good footfall. And yeah, we're busy. Been busy preparing the garden, getting the pub benches ready. We become a bit like caretakers at this time of year, doing all the repair jobs in the garden, ready for the big push in the summer.
Sanding the benches, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all the fun jobs, numbering the tables, like that.
Good stuff. So we're here to talk about what's been going on. I mean, it feels like it's gone a little bit quiet at the moment, doesn't it? I know you're quite active and vocal on the campaign front, but it feels like we're sort of. Is it just because it's sunny and we're too busy, or what's going on?
I think there's a bit of a combination. Obviously, you start to get into the summer and things start to feel better. I think you concentrate maybe on your footfall and that you're feeling busy rather than the fact that your costs are going up, and you don't really start to see what difference that makes until you get towards the end of summer and you're thinking, well, have we got as much money in the bank as we would have this time last year? So yeah, you do get busy with all that. Like I say, we're busy preparing our businesses for the busiest period of the year. For us, the summer far outweighs Christmas periods because of the size of our garden. So yeah, things go a little bit quiet because operators get busy preparing for that. But we have obviously got to compete now when we're campaigning with what's going on in Westminster, and obviously we need to pick our times. And if at the moment what's going on in Westminster is so controversial, there's so much going on with Iran, with Trump, with oil and fuel prices, are we really going to get much of an ear with the people that count at the moment? And I think the answer for the minute is no, and we've just got to keep working in the background and choose the right moments to sort of get in there and say what we need to say.
Yeah, so maybe keep our powder dry while the distractions are going on. And
yeah, exactly. You want to be doing these things when they're going to have the biggest impact. And I think right now we don't even know if we're going to have the same Prime Minister in a couple of weeks, let alone, who we need to speak to and how we get attention from the press. And obviously the press, quite rightly at the moment, are concentrating on the more global issues. And there will be times that they come back to us and they're asking us and other small businesses how we're being affected by everything. But at the moment, there's such a lot of drama going on that they are covering that over anything else.
Yeah. I mean, one of the big things that's happened, maybe not this week, but this month, is we're into April now. We're into a new regime. We've got increased costs, a whole new situation with employment right. I mean, what's your take on what's happening? We've got day one rights, all this kind of thing now.
Yeah, I think most operators will have just put through their April payroll. It's payroll for us today, and it is one of the biggest we've seen. For us, obviously, we have March races, we've had Easter, so it's been a huge payroll month because of the extra staff that entails. And with the increased national insurance contributions and the rise in minimum wage, that's been a massive shocker. And I think most operators will look at their April payroll and think, wow, this really is having an impact now, because not only does it have an impact on national insurance contributions, but those employees who are also on pensions, that's based on a percentage. So the pensions contributions are also going up. And then on top of that, I've spoken to a few operators that have been affected by the new rules in sick pay. So day one sick pay now. That's so tricky. The guy I was speaking to, I won't name any names, but he's had an extra £200 added to his payroll in 1 week on the first week that this new legislation came in. And he said, mostly it was from staff calling in sick on Bank Holiday Monday. Now, are we paying staff for hangovers now? Is that where we've got to? How do you differentiate someone who's genuinely ill from someone who's calling in for a hangover, and where do we draw the line? What I think operators are really confused about proof. How do we ask for proof? Can we ask for proof? And I think a lot of people are drawing up sort of new SSP policies and procedures to try and combat this sort of potential culture of having to pay people for hangovers.
It's tricky, isn't it? And it does come down to process. We've all got to sharpen up on how we deal with these things and put the policies in place, be rigid with it, which is difficult because we're not a rigid industry in that way. We're very flexible. We're very kind of accommodating, and to apply those kind of structures and restrictions doesn't feel great.
It really doesn't. And, we're not corporate people generally. A lot of small operators don't have the HR behind them to sort of really get into the nitty gritty of these things. I've no problem paying minimum wage. Like, we want our staff to be paid properly, but also there has to be a fairness for the business. We cannot be expected to pay staff if they've got a snivelly nose. You'd be expected to go into school with a cough or a cold. If you sent your child to school, you tried to get your child off school with a cough or a cold, you'd have an authorised absence. But yet, as employers, we're now expected to let the employee decide if they're well enough to come, or in some cases, if they can be bothered to come. I want my staff to be happy. I want them to be there, and we're really lucky. Our sick pay has been low, but is this something that's going to encourage them to think, well, if I get sick pay from day one, I'm not feeling it today, I've got a hangover, I've been throwing up all morning, they're not going to come into work, are they, if they're going to get paid for it? No, exactly. And final thing, I mean, you touched on this earlier, weather. We seem to be, the sun is actually shining out there. I think that's what it is, a great big ball in the sky. We're looking ahead. Weather forecast is good. Are you optimistic? Yeah, really optimistic. I mean, it was quite nice last week, but it was pretty windy in Cheltenham as well. So there was that cold breeze still seemed to be there. But since yesterday, and hopefully for the next couple of weeks, it's looking pretty good. So for a pub garden the size of ours, that's amazing. I mean, I think you and I had a quick chat about etiquette in pub gardens before we came on, and it does feel a little bit like this period of this sunshine's been a long time coming, and you have this sort of massive people turn out into the pub garden. You're not quite ready for it those first couple of weeks. You're not quite prepared for what that brings, and it brings back memories like, oh yeah, this is what it's like when you have to serve another 100 people in your garden. And I think a lot of people forget how to behave, don't they, in pub gardens when they first come out. So we're having to tell people to put their shirts on, put their dogs on lead. Do you mind watching your own children? Those kind of things, we feel a bit like school teachers for the first couple of weeks when it's hot, but brilliant, like more of it, please. We want a really good summer.
Absolutely. And ironically, the next episode of the podcast is on customers not behaving pub rules, or what are the pub rules for customers. So we discussed.
I could talk about that all day.
A few of those themes in that one, so you might want to have a listen. Brilliant. Brilliant, Emma. Well, thank you for that. We are out of time, but appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts.
Thanks very much, Ed. Have a good weekend.
Cheers, you too. Well, there you go. Sun's out. Hopefully, customers are out as well. We will be back in a week's time with some more thoughts on the week's news. Till then, keep pulling those pints.